Welcome to Behind the Curtain, Nashville's movers, shakers,
and tastemakers.
Brought to you by Cord Real Estate, your key to the heart of Nashville. I'm Steve Luther alongside my co-host Van Hoy.
Here we peel back the layers of Nashville's vibrant scene, sitting down with the innovators, creators, and leaders who shape our city. From music to business and everything in between, we dive into the journeys that have brought them to where they are today.
We're here to uncover the stories behind the success, the passion driving their pursuits, and why they've chosen Nashville as their stage. It's about the people who dream big, push boundaries, and make this city truly unique.
So join us as we explore the heart and soul of Nashville through the eyes of those who know it best.
Well, welcome to the show. Today we've got two guests. That's
Two.
Double the pleasure. Welcome to Keith and Diana Stancil, seasoned music industry executives and the innovative minds behind Artist Garden Entertainment and Nashville Drone Company. With careers spanning over 3 decades, they've carved a niche in the music business, transitioning from major label roles to empowering independent artists through their management and consulting firm. Keith's journey through the realms of music sales, marketing, and artist development culminated in his pioneering venture into drone videography, showcasing his adaptability and forward-thinking approach in a rapidly evolving digital landscape. Diana started as a professional model.
Yes, she did.
And is a member of a singing family who became a stage mom to a major label artist.
That's right.
Their diverse expertise make them a fascinating figures in both the music and tech industries. Keith and Diana, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And they have a podcast.
Oh,
yes, we do.
Which is what we're going to talk about.
Nana and
Tata.
That's right.
You have to say it a very specific way.
She's teaching us the right way to speak it. Speak it.
Well, tell us how you guys got started out.
Oh, man. That's an open one.
That's very open.
Wow. Wow.
Started out together or...
how you guys got started in your careers individually and how you ended up finding each other and coming together and starting what you're doing now.
You go.
Okay.
Because watching the podcast so far, the Nana and Tata.
You got it.
Yeah.
I haven't heard the history yet, so I don't know. Is that going to come out if you want eventually? Is that going to come out in your programming?
It may, but we're focused on the shorts.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to get history into shorts.
Oh,
well. Yeah, we keep getting people reaching out to us and asking us if we could make it longer, but since I'm not the tech guy, I don't know. I don't think so.
I love it.
We may add in some longer form at some point, but
maybe what you share here, you can cut up and
there you go.
Use it.
There you go.
So yeah.
Well, I started off in the music business working on the mainstream side.
That's right.
Of the business
at Warner, right?
I started with Capitol Records.
Okay.
And then I moved over to Warner.
Right.
And worked on the mainstream side in marketing and sales roles. And then transitioned over onto the Christian music side with Word Entertainment and ran their general markets department, which was anything outside of the Christian bookstores. So I focused on Best Buys, Target.
Because back in the day, we sold Christian music mostly in Christian bookstores.
Right.
When there used to be such a thing.
I know.
So I came in to do that. And one of the first artists I worked with, because I was working as a liaison between Word and Epic Records and Sony. And one of the artists they thought had the most potential for the mainstream was my stepdaughter, Jackie.
That's right.
Jackie Velasquez. And so her and Diana were some of the first people I worked with.
Isn't that cool?
It is.
How do you like that?
I like it.
So you were a model. Tell us a little bit about that before we go deeper here in our Nashville world.
That was years ago.
Yeah.
It was a time. It was a different time because back then they wanted the all-American look, and as you can see, I am not the all-American look.
Well, now it's like everything's American now.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but yeah, I did a lot of work, a lot of print work.
Cool.
Yeah,
very cool. What was your favorite element in modeling? Or your favorite gig that you had at one point?
Oh my! It was, modeling is actually very hard work.
Right.
A lot of hours of sitting still and changing clothes over and over and over. But I actually loved meeting all the people, very interesting people.
That's cool. I like the people too. Yeah. Yeah. So
you
you went from modeling to being in a family singing group
Yes.
and then transitioned when your daughter got signed.
Yes, she was 14, and so we moved here to Nashville. She
Right.
was too young to send her here
That's right.
by
Where
herself.
did you move from?
We lived in Houston. She was born in Houston.
I was born in Houston.
Were you really?
Yes.
A Houstonian?
Yes.
Wow.
Go Houston.
Yeah. The Oilers followed us here, I say.
That's
did,
true.
yeah.
And now they're the
did.
Titans.
That's right.
Yep.
That's a whole story.
Yeah.
So you being a stage mom to Jackie, right? What you don't remember because I'm not as memorable as people think I am, is that we met back
Where?
on a stage. I believe it was in Kansas somewhere. I don't know, but Jackie was brought in. She had just been signed, and she was opening. They brought her in to open for a comedian, Mark Lowry. And I'm standing with you and Jackie backstage because I was the promoter at the time.
Oh, wow.
And I'm standing backstage with you guys, and I walk away, and Mark waves at me and gets me to come over. He's getting ready to start the show and welcome everybody, and then introduce her. And he comes over and he says, "How do you say her name?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" and because she was brand new, we'd never heard anybody actually say her name, right? So we, and so we're looking at, and I'm looking at, the poster. I got, 'cause there wasn't a smartphone then, and I'm looking at the poster. I was like, "Well, it says Jackie Velasquez."
That's close.
And
Most.
Mark Lowry, you know how he could shrink up his face and he would get all like reactionary. He goes, "There's no squares in Spanish." What is and it's like, well, then what are you talking to me for? Then just, I don't know. He goes, "It's got to be," So I walked over and whispered to you, and I was like, "Tell me how to pronounce your last name," and you told me so. So he got to sound like he knew what he was talking about. But you were so sweet.
Aww.
And it was incredible watching you watch her.
No, she was my baby.
I remember it like it was yesterday, watching you watch her, and I just thought, that is incredible watching that. So,
that's something.
Yeah.
It was I was taking care of her.
Yeah, you were.
What's funny, Van, is when I was on the record company side, before we were a thing,
right?
We would actually have them. They would come in when we were doing meet and greets.
Sure.
We had a big room of people that we needed to conquer. We would split them in half. And Diana would work half the room, and Jackie would work the other half.
I love it.
And when we left, they wanted to know as much about Diana,
right,
as they did Jackie, because everybody just loved her.
See,
she lit up a room.
To this day.
Still, yeah.
To this day. Well, back to your normal questions. I wanted to go down memory lane since she didn't even know we had a lane, but
I know, but it's good to see you after all these years.
After all these years, that's right.
So you guys started, I guess, kind of working together, and then became a couple. Very similar story to me and Ashley. That's kind of how we got together. But then how did you guys go from there? Like, were you already with Artist Garden, or was that something that came?
At what point in your career did you get together? Inquiry minds want to know.
We actually worked together a lot professionally before we ever even
How cool!
Yeah,
right. Yeah, it was very cool. We're what we call a product of 9/11.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yes.
Explain.
Well, first of all, we were both married before.
Okay.
And we were very afraid to be married again.
Yes.
We'd had similar experiences. And I ran into Diana at a festival, a Christian music festival up in George, Washington.
Oh, okay.
Creation West.
Yeah.
You probably remember it.
Of course.
And something hit me then. I say God bopped me over the head. And her and Jackie were talking about moving away from Nashville at the time. And I was like, no, there's so much fun stuff to do in Nashville in a couple hours. I'm a big outdoors person,
Mm.
so I love the state and the city. So I said, when we get back to Nashville, we'll do something fun.
Cool.
That was me setting up our first date.
I didn't know
love
it.
I love
I
it.
did not know that.
He had a plan.
Yeah.
And so we set the date up, or what I thought was a date. And I said, hey, me and some friends are going to Crockett Park to see a concert. Would you like to come?
And I thought, yeah, that's really nice. You know, I'm up for meeting new people.
Right, right.
And then my friends didn't show because I gave them a soft invite.
Mm.
I did give them an invite, but it was a very soft, hey, kind of, we're thinking about this.
Right.
So she was wondering where they were. And that's when I think she realized she had been set up.
She'd been had.
Yeah, well, we went to the concert. It was really nice, beautiful evening. We sat there and we were there for the whole concert. And then he asked me to go out for coffee. And I'm like, okay. But see, again, we've known each other professionally for several
Right.
years. So I still didn't snap. And then we started talking about this.
He caught you unawares.
Yes, he did. And we started talking about this restaurant that we had eaten at. And we were talking about this tuna. And I'm like, well, I think maybe let's figure it out. Why don't you come over and we'll figure out. I'll try to figure out how to make it again. So I didn't realize I was setting up a date.
You're setting up a second.
Good.
Yeah. And so he shows
good.
up. He
He's
shows
sly.
up and he's like all nervous. And I'm like, just trying to cook.
Right.
Anyway, it was just like all of a sudden, it just like, as we're sitting there, I'm like, oh, it hit me. Oh, wow. I saw him in a different light.
Yeah.
And we were both scared,
Yeah.
as I said, because it's scared of marriage.
Right.
When you've been through a bad one, you don't want to jump into a new one.
Of course.
And that was in early August when we had those first dates.
Yes.
And then 9/11 happened.
Mm.
Yeah.
And Dinah was out in California.
I was there for the Latin Grammys, Jackie and I.
Right. And I was here in Nashville. And we both realized during that time point, life is short.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know where
That's right.
tomorrow's coming from. So I felt like this was a God thing.
Yeah.
So why not jump in with both feet?
Right.
Yeah. I agree. All of a sudden it hit me. I felt so alone walking around Beverly Hills, and I'd walk into a store and people were like zombies and I was like a zombie, and I just had this aching in my heart. And of course we were stuck there. We couldn't get home.
Right.
So we were there for several days. And finally when I got home, I just opened my heart up.
Sure.
And I just let it go.
Anybody who can remember then can remember right where they were.
Exactly.
You know, and that eerie sense when there was no plane in the sky.
Yes.
There was no noise.
Yes.
It was a eerie time.
Yes.
I think there were a lot of 9/11 relationships that started out of that.
Yeah.
So, we were talking this year on 9/11 how something so tragic, but we were a fortunate product of that.
Right.
So there was some love that came out of 9/11, as hard as it is to even think about that or imagine it. We're so grateful. And we're so grateful for those families,
right,
who lost,
of course,
loved ones. And we were thinking about that, how just how thankful we are for them and for how they've carried on afterwards and been able to blossom some, if there could be good things blossomed out of these good things. And we feel so fortunate and that we were a product of it. Wish it would have never happened,
of course,
but we think of all those people.
Yeah, it's funny, every year September 11th, 9/11, it takes us back to when we both decided we were going to open up our hearts and just let it go.
Yeah, I think when you're faced with such trauma, it makes you think about what matters.
Yeah,
and giving that loved one one more hug and telling your child one more time you're proud of them, and just those moments that we carry with us for a lifetime that we don't always think the other one carries. They do.
Well, we can take so many things in life for granted.
That's right.
And then something happens and you're like, whoa,
Mm-hmm.
Wake up call.
Huge.
Right. And interesting things. I was spending a lot of time in New York during that time period.
Oh, really?
I was up there at least once a month, and I'd been there just a week prior.
Mm.
And so it definitely hit pretty hard.
Right.
You know, the significance of what happened there. So
I'm always amazed at all the stories that you hear that we've still never heard.
Yeah.
right.
Every year, there's more stories that come out of people who were right up the street from the buildings, or
Yeah.
had a loved one on one of the planes, or different things. It's
Yeah.
just incredible, the ripple effect, and how that will go into eternity.
Yeah.
Well, and I think it's important that we continue to read those stories and people
Yes.
continue to tell them.
That's right.
You know, we make a practice of making sure that our grandkids understand
Mm-hmm.
what happened that day.
That's right.
Yeah.
You know,
That's good.
because they're not getting it in a lot of places,
Right.
You know, so
But I think all of us. I mean, even Jewish holidays, right? The Passover feasts and whatever. You look at all these things of people and people groups over the years. Look at Jesus and the communion, right? Do this in remembrance of me.
Yeah.
Just taking those moments of remembrance and having that respect and that appreciation, and whether that's for someone who laid their life down or even a group of people who did. So,
Yeah.
Man, we got deep real fast. Save us out of this, will you, Steve? Ask us something shallow, will you? I know that's usually my role, but come on, you got all these questions.
So what sparked Artist Garden and Nashville Drone? How did those come about?
Well, there was a lot of change going on in the music business.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Yeah, that's about the time that
that's how I got into real estate.
the whole downloading thing had come into play.
That's all right.
And so I knew I wanted to, if I was going to continue a career in the music business, I needed to get closer to the artist. Because where I was at the label, I was in sales and
marry your mom.
Yes, marry mom. I got pretty close to that artist.
I don't know. Can we say that?
And management. Well, this is going south.
I didn't make any guarantees. This is Nashville's behind the scenes, right? No, behind the curtain. What's this thing called, Steve?
Lord. See,
what is this thing called?
I'm starting to feel like I'm on an episode of Nashville.
Yeah, that's right. Oh my gosh. Continue.
But and so I had just looked at artist management from afar and thought, man, that's interests me.
Right.
And so I told Diana, I was like, hey, I'd always wanted to start my own business, and I was like, let's start a management company. And she
Love it.
I was like, no.
She was like, no.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You had all that experience.
It's hard. It's hard work. Living out on the road in a bus. Because I've been behind the scenes for so many years, I was like, let's not do that. But you wanted to do it.
Now, were you talking about like road management? You're talking about being the manager.
Being the manager.
Back here.
Yeah.
Back here. Yeah. You don't have to be on the road.
No, but still, sometimes you do.
That's true.
But it's just, there's a lot you put into there's a lot you put into an artist.
Right.
Yeah.
And that was my background for about 20 years.
Yeah. So Yeah.
And see, I figured I had the record label side experience.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that side, sales and marketing.
Right.
And she knew the management side.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
We are going to be unstoppable.
I love it.
And we worked together well, but there was a time that I was like, okay, I really would like to just let you do it.
Sure.
Right. So Dinah became my secret weapon, though. She was, when we worked with female artists,
right.
She is fantastic.
I like that. Did you hear that? Fantastic.
Fantastic.
That's it.
Yeah, we do. We do. I mean, when there's a female artist, I am definitely involved. And I'm involved even with male artists for photo shoots.
Well, with your
styling.
modeling background and your marketing and understanding of it all.
Yeah.
So
when it comes to styling and photo shoots and video shoots, she's the secret weapon.
I love it.
She also works a room.
So I'm picking up that y'all have a lot and that she and I have a lot. I don't know. It's just
There you go.
So tell us about working a room. What were you just about to say there?
Well, I was about to say Dinah's a people magnet.
Mm,
So when we would be at any kind of function where we
Right.
needed to work the room fast, and they're just drawn to her. So, I make sure Dinah's with me.
she's got the light.
She's got the light, and she makes things happen.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
See, when we go to a conference or somewhere and I need to make sure we're networking with everyone, I just tell him, just go be all van on everybody.
That's what they say. I'm like, what am I supposed to say? These are your people. He goes, just go be all van. I'm like, okay.
I like that.
I just walk into the center of the room and look around, see what happens.
I like that.
Somehow we end up on stage or something. So
Now, did Nashville Drones spin off from the marketing stuff that you were doing with Artist Garden, or?
It did. I got really intrigued with iPhone photography, and then iPhone video. I had read an article with Steven Soderbergh,
right,
the producer of the Ocean's
of course,
11 and all those movies.
Mhm.
He had done a movie called Unhindered, which is a horror film, and I haven't seen it because I'm not into horror films.
No,
But,
I have enough stress in my life. I don't need that.
But he did that entire movie with an iPhone.
Did he really?
I think it was an iPhone 10.
Wow.
And the article was, all the technology's there in an iPhone, but you still have to know how. You still have to have story. You have to know how to direct. You have to know lighting. So I was really intrigued with that. When we were working with some artists that didn't have a budget to do music videos,
right?
So I was like, let's do some music videos.
Yeah,
very cool.
So I did a couple of those, and when I would show them to people, they would say, "You need that drone shot." And so that was in the back of my head. And then when we walked into the year of COVID,
yes,
we walked into that. The music industry came to a screeching halt, like
Yes,
most
it
of the
did.
world. And I said, well, I don't want to get on the other side of COVID, and all I've done is watch Netflix movies.
Right.
So I ordered a drone and started flying it, fell in love with it, decided to go and get my Part 107 commercial license, and hung our sign up and started a drone business.
Wow. So I'm hearing that when there's crisis and catastrophe, you take lemons and you make lemonade.
Exactly.
And then sell it for a great profit.
Yeah.
I haven't found the great profit.
Listen to that.
He does have several drones, though.
I do have a lot of drones.
See?
So it grew from there, and
right.
And I already had, being on video shoots,
right.
You get a feel for, and I'm both, right and left brained. There's a creative side of me.
You kind of have to be if you're gonna be artist manager.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so the drone kind of scratched that creative itch, and I saw what you can bring to life.
That's right.
With a little camera in the air.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
So, what started the podcast?
Diana really wanted to start a podcast.
No.
I don't know that we believe you now.
I've always dabbled in doing videos with our grandkids.
Oh, sure.
Because we took lots of video. As
Oh,
they were growing
yeah.
up. Tons of it. And I was like, it just sits there on a hard drive somewhere.
Right.
So why not put it together and create videos? So we started a series years ago called The Little Cooks with our two grandsons.
Ah, very cool.
And we were, convinced that we were going to go viral.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
We knew we were.
Whatever that was.
But The Little Cooks never went viral. But we had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I don't know about cooking and virality. They go together, right?
Right.
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
So I've just got to, I love editing and putting stuff together. And so I told Diana, I was like, hey, let's start this thing just geared it more towards the shorts, 20, 30-second videos, which is where people's,
just getting a glimpse into your lives as grandparents.
Yeah.
And we're grandparents, and we hang out with a lot of grandparents, and we meet new grandparents daily.
Right.
And so there's a lot of things that grandparents deal with in life. Everybody just thinks, oh, it's it's our sweet grandparents over there. We go, we get some good food. But grandparents have a lot of influence, or they have the platform and the ability
potential, yeah.
to
Yeah.
have a lot of influence over their grandchildren.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so different than the parent relationship, because the parent has to, you know, be the disciplined figure, and
Sure.
you know, they've got so much going on. Usually when the kids are young,
Right.
you know, they're running 100 miles an hour in every direction.
Yeah.
Right.
But we thought it'd be cool to share some of a grandparent's life, and our plan is to give little nuggets along the way of things we've learned.
That's good. I know it started showing up on all my socials. Like all of a sudden one day I was like, what is happening? Like I was like, goodness. Because you're giving little snippets, like a sample of what it's like, and
Yeah.
kind of those nuggets. It's really cool. And that heart
Yeah.
comes through. It seems like that's what I feel every time I see a short of you guys. There's this heart that comes through.
Yeah. We love our
I'm glad you see
grandkids.
that.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah, we have a granddaughter in Texas as well. Unfortunately, she lives in Texas, so we don't get to see her
Right.
that often. We do FaceTime, and I need to ask her if it's okay if I put her on. But yeah,
Yeah.
you love your grandkids. You know, we were blessed that we got to have our boys a lot, because
Mm,
their parents travel so much that
Right,
we got
right.
to have them probably more than most grandparents,
cool.
which I'm thankful for.
Right. And now they're teenagers.
15 and 16.
So you guys have a really rock solid relationship with them,
Yes.
which is pretty cool.
Yes.
My grandparents lived in North Dakota and Washington State. So I was only around them a handful of times. So
Yeah.
it's a
Well,
different thing.
I did not have kids of my own.
Okay.
I'm married into adult kids,
Yeah, he did.
but I've been there since day one
With the babies.
with the babies, the boys. And since their parents traveled, I was able to get to do a lot of things that Dad would do.
Cool.
You know, teach them how to ride bikes,
Oh, yeah.
how to swim, how to fish, how to
Yeah.
camp. And
my son-in-law is so awesome. He would
He
be
is.
like, Dad, just do whatever you need to do.
How
Just
cool.
gave him free reign.
How cool.
which was cool
Yeah.
because it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And so we've got a different kind of bond, I think,
Mhm.
than a lot of grandparents do with their grandkids. So, but at the same time, it was funny because their parents traveled a lot.
Right.
And so when they would come in to town, I think they probably would act more like a traditional grandparent, you know,
How
because they were
funny.
feeling guilty for being gone,
Right.
you know, but they couldn't help it necessarily.
And we didn't want to
we had to
spoil
be
them.
more disciplined.
Yeah.
Sure.
We don't want them to be spoiled little brats.
Oh, I say spoil them. Why not? Why not?
Well, we figured out how to do both.
Okay.
How to add a little bit of discipline and then spoil them at the same time. And now their
Yeah.
parents are in town quite a bit, so we're in our traditional roles now.
Right.
Yeah.
I hear grandparenting is guilt-free parenting. Is that a good
I guess
statement?
so. I guess so.
You know,
Yeah.
because like for me, I'm always afraid I'm going to ruin their lives, my kids. You know, like I got to make sure I do everything right, or if I mess up, I got to quickly let them know, hey, I was wrong when I said that. It should have been this. And you know, I'm always trying. And I'm thinking, you know, when I'm a grandparent, I won't have to worry about any of that.
Well, the thing is that times are different.
Okay.
And so I think the grandparents' role is really super important, not just being there for them and baking for them and having fun with them, but our history is somehow it's getting lost.
Ooh,
and-
interesting.
Yeah, and I think that grandparents, we bring something that maybe they're not getting through school or
You
books.
telling the stories of the family and
Yes.
that sort of thing.
Yes, and you know, we feel like we need to we feel like they're important things.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
even in your cooking, you're sharing recipes probably that have been sent down from your family, and
Yeah, that's a hard one
you're
because
expressing.
they want recipes and I don't make recipes, so it's hard. I
Oh.
have to write recipes down.
But we do play a unique role, which we make the grandkids. We try to be there to console them when they're
Yeah.
having trouble at home.
Right.
But at the same time, we try to steer them in a direction and help them understand why their parents
Yeah.
are
Help
why
them
the-
understand.
Yes.
Yeah, help them understand their parents,
filter.
how
Yeah.
to support their parents.
Yeah,
Right.
they
You
need
know,
they need
and
their parents.
They do,
Right.
Yeah.
and
That's good.
so
Yeah, I'm like, baby, you need to listen to your mom and dad.
right.
You know, a lot of times they feel like maybe they tell us something, we're going to just go, oh, it's okay. And we're like,
Right,
no,
right.
no, you listen to your mom and dad.
Wow, that's good.
Well, what's next for you guys? Any big projects coming up? Where do you want to take your business, the podcast? We don't want to wait for another natural disaster.
No.
Yeah, let's not wait for another natural disaster here. You know,
I'm done with those.
for real.
I say, we're having a lot of fun with this little podcast
Right.
thing, the non-untata thing. We're
Is it going to go from shorts to longs?
It could, depending
Yeah.
on how much time
Is that
I
a
get
term?
from
Long.
how much time Nana gives me. We're starting with the
right.
shorts.
Yeah.
But we are going to add more things into we've been having a lot of fun with it,
Right.
but we're going to have some serious moments.
Yeah, we need there's serious stuff in life, obviously.
Of course.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's fun too. I mean, you want to have fun in life, right?
Absolutely.
Life is too short, like I said.
Yeah. And we're pouring a lot into the drone business.
Mhm.
Really trying to grow that. And
Yes.
Good.
we've had some good opportunities with that. And,
Yeah.
just really trying to grow that.
Yeah.
And drones, the whole drone industry is kind of exploding right now.
Right.
Just about every business out there is using them in one shape.
Absolutely.
form,
You know,
or
we
fashion.
use it.
Oh yeah, all
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah,
Is
which
it-
I need to give you guys my card.
I've been
Before
wondering
I leave
when
here.
are you going to tell us? You know,
Yes.
give us a card.
Yeah, actually, it's really very good. I don't know if you've ever seen any of his videos, but I'm not because
I
it's my
have.
honey, but he's
I
really
have.
good. Yeah.
He's shared a few with our Thursday group that
Yeah.
we're on.
Yes.
So back to the podcast. I just have to ask you. Okay, so I have two sons,
Mhm.
and my wife is just this crazy, fun, spastic. She's a lot of fun, and they have a lot of fun with her,
Mhm.
and they tease her and they give her a hard time. Now I have seen watching your shorts. Your grandkids are so sweet to you and kind, and it's this love. Do they ever give you a hard time, like fun? Like, I don't mean like do something wrong, but I mean, do they like
Yeah.
jump out at you when you're not
Oh, yeah.
expecting
Jump scares.
the jump scares? Are we
Right.
gonna get some of that on the podcast? Like, can we get some jump scares?
Yeah,
Are we gonna get
probably need to.
any real life they're not bringing in the?
Okay, I will commit.
Just ask.
We will bring a jump scare.
Yes.
Yes.
The three of them, the boys
Oh,
and
yeah.
him, you just never know what's going to happen.
That's
you
how
know?
our house is.
Yeah.
I mean, I hear these blood curdling screams come from the other room, and I start clapping, or I'm like, yes. So she screams, "Why?" Like every time it happens, she just screams,
Yeah,
So
you gotta have fun.
yeah, so I'm wanting to see a little more of that, some behind the scenes.
We have to be. They're very. They have a mind of their own. Our
Naturally,
grandsons.
Yeah.
as they should,
15 and 16, yeah.
So
as they should.
And they're very careful about what they will allow us to put up on video. We have to have their permission.
Oh, I'm
So-
impressed.
Right. So
Yeah.
and so I explained to them what our goal is to go super viral so that I can buy them a car.
Oh,
All of a
And
sudden, they're okay.
And they loosened up a lot.
that's so funny.
Well, how does somebody find the podcast?
Yes, because it just shows up on mine.
Yes,
on my
we're
socials.
on. We're focused on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok,
Okay.
and it's Nana and Tata,
How do I spell that?
Nana, and then ANDTATA.
Okay.
So it's Nana and Tata, and I think some of the formats.
Everything I wrote down here is wrong.
Yeah, I'm
Just
looking
so
at
you
what he
know.
wrote. I was like, yeah, that wasn't even
No,
close.
look at that.
And I think some of them we had to have an official on it. I think Facebook. So it's Nana and Tata official on
Cool.
Facebook and YouTube, and maybe it's just Nana and Tata. You could try official or Nana and Tata. I don't know.
Right.
We're so organized that we don't even know what our
Well, you've seen today. We're
name
so
is.
organized.
I tell you, we all get along great.
What about the drone business? Somebody wants to reach out to you for that. What's the best way to get a hold of you for that?
because it's pro.
It is pro.
It's pro.
Yeah.
Nashville drone.co. CO.
And it's not just for real estate. It's all kinds of stuff.
There's not. No,
Music videos.
we did the drone work for the Winona Judd film that came out last year.
Okay.
The documentary.
Yeah.
I think it was called Between Hell and Hallelujah.
Yeah.
So we did the drone work on her farm and following the tour bus around.
Very cool.
Done some music videos, and we actually did the drone work for the MLS Final Cup.
Is that
match
right?
Last August with Messi.
Do you have to
Very
get
cool.
special clearances from the cities and that sort of thing?
You do, depending on where you're at.
Yeah.
It's the FAA controls all the airspace,
Mm,
and so you have to know where you're at.
right.
And if it's restricted in any way, then you have to. It's like flying a plane through.
Have you ever flown a drone into a place you're not supposed to go?
No,
Not on purpose.
I have
Not on air, Van.
No,
I want to know.
I have never done that.
Never.
But we do have an interesting story. We were doing a
Ooh, tell
wedding,
us. Yeah.
and I had rotator cuff surgery, so I had my arm in a sling.
Okay.
And so he's got his drones, and
Right.
there's all these people. So he's flying his drone. He's got me holding one of them, or one of the controls.
Okay.
So then he comes over. I've been sitting there in the heat and the bugs and trying to, take care of his stuff for him.
Right.
And then he comes and he takes that control and gives me another control. And I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden I hear people screaming. And I'm looking around.
Because I was doing both still video or handheld video
Right.
and drone
At the same time?
at the same time. I had the drone.
Wow.
I would just park it. I'd park the drone up in the air while I did the
You
handheld,
just parked it in the air. I love it.
and I handed her the control.
Right. Oh.
So it was parked in the air above the wedding.
All of
I
a sudden
love
I hear
this.
people screaming. I'm going, what's going on? And I'm bleeding it toward myself.
Oh my
She has a
god.
control rubbing it on her
That's
on her arm.
incredible.
And the drone is taking a dive.
Yes. Dive bomb.
In my defense, I had
Yes.
held that other control for hours. I didn't realize
Right.
that this one was running, right? So there.
Did you get some unique footage for the bride and groom?
Oh yeah, definitely.
We also crashed his drone.
We crashed the drone,
Oh.
but it was fine.
Yeah, it worked still.
Wow.
Well, guys, it has been an absolute pleasure
Are you
having
cutting us short? Like, what is happening?
That was
We're
it.
out of time.
Time. Fine.
Any last words before we go?
No, thanks for having us on.
Yeah.
Oh,
Thank you
of
for
course.
having us. This has
Yeah.
been fun. Yeah. And I love your building here.
Oh,
Love
thank
it.
you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And if
Nash-
I was going to buy a property,
Yes.
I would use Cord Real Estate.
Hey,
I love
it. Buy, sell, or invest.
There you go.
All right. Well, with that, we will see you guys next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, that's a wrap on today's episode of Behind the Curtain, Nashville's Movers
And
Shakers.
taste makers.
We hope you've been inspired by the stories of passion, perseverance, and innovation right here in Nashville.
A big thank you to our guests for sharing their journeys and to you, our listeners, for joining us. And of course, our gratitude to Cord Real Estate for making this conversation possible.
Don't forget to follow or subscribe to our podcast on
Did
your
I- did I
favorite
just-
platform.
Thank us.
Yes, you did.
Oh, I guess I did. Well, thank us. Okay.
Like I was saying.
Oh, yeah. Go
Don't
ahead.
forget to follow or subscribe on your favorite platform to catch every episode and hit that notification bell. We've got plenty more fascinating guests lined up, ready to share their insights and inspirations.
And we love hearing from you. So reach out to us with your thoughts, questions, or suggestions for who you'd like to hear from next.
Until next time, keep chasing your dreams and making your mark in Nashville.
Oh, my goodness.
Remember,
Am I talking to Casey
It's the
Kasem?
people behind the scenes that make the city shine.
I love it. Take care. See you behind the curtain.